Hi everyone, you're welcome back. So today I'm going to be sharing with you how to sew this beautiful bustier blouse with a drop shoulder yoke and a scalloped hem. In the previous tutorial, I shared how to draft this bustier blouse. So if you're yet to watch that tutorial, I'll be dropping the link for you in the comment section so you can go ahead to check it out. So this tutorial is going to be a continuation of that tutorial. So if this looks like what you really wish to learn, please watch this video till the end. So here I have my pattern placed on my fabric, and I'm going to be cutting both the lining piece and my main fabric at the same time. It is easier doing it this way. And this part here is the center front of the blouse I'm going to be making, and I'll be cutting this part on fold. I went ahead to mark a seam allowance of 0.5 inch all the way around on the part you see me touching. And here I have the side front. I added my allowance on this part you see me touching on the blouse, and there is no allowance on the side of the front. So here I have the center back. There is no allowance on this center back, that is the zipper area, and I marked 0.5 inch all the way around. And for the side, I have 0.5 inch allowance all the way around except for the side. So the next thing I'm going to go ahead to quickly do now is to cut it out. So here I have the back block of the bustier blouse I'm going to be making after cutting, and here I have the front block. This is what you should have once you're done cutting. The next I'm going to go ahead to quickly do now is to pad the bustier area of the blouse I'm going to be making, and I'll be using a medium size wadding to do that. Before you go ahead to pad, make sure you notch your underbust. The wadding should stop on the underbust area, so I'll go ahead to quickly do this, then I'll come back to show you what to do next. So here I've gone ahead to pad the bustier area of the front block of the blouse I'm going to be making, and this is what you should have once you're done padding. So when padding your bustier area, make sure that you come down by at least 2 inches from the neckline area so that you don't have any bulkiness at that point when you join your lining piece to it. The next thing I'm going to go ahead to quickly do now is to join my center to the side. So you go ahead to place it like this, making sure the good face are facing each other. Then you stitch from the lower part down to the top, and you repeat the same thing on this other side and also for the lining piece. So here I have the back block of the blouse. What I'll go ahead to quickly do for the back block of the blouse is to join the center to the side. So you're going to go ahead to join the center to the side separately, but you'll be leaving the zipper area open, and you'll be repeating the same thing for your lining piece. So whatever you do on your lining piece, you'll be doing the same thing on your main fabric. After I was done joining the center to the side, this is what the front block of the blouse is going to look like, and this is what the bustier area looked like. I also went ahead to open up the seam and give it a good press to be able to achieve the curve on the bustier area. So after stitching, this is what the front block should look like. And also for the back, I went ahead to repeat the same thing for the back. I opened up the seam and gave it a good press, and this is what the back block of your blouse should look like once you're done stitching them together. And for the lining piece, I also repeated the same thing, but I went ahead to attach a gum stay from the waist down to the hem of the lining piece to give the lower part of the blouse structure. I went ahead to do this for both the front block of the blouse and also for the back block of the blouse. So the next thing we are going to go ahead to do now is to join the lining piece to your main fabric. So you go ahead to place it like this, making sure that the good face of your lining is facing the good face of your fabric. After which you go ahead to stitch the upper part. After stitching the upper part, you are going to go ahead to also finish up the hem of the blouse. Then you also close up the sides. You'll be leaving the armhole area open because you'll be turning it over with the armhole area, and you'll be repeating the same thing for the back block of the blouse also. For the back block of the blouse, what you're going to go ahead to do is to finish up the neckline, the hem, the sides, and also the zipper allowance, and you return it over from the armhole area. And also I have the sleeve here. I'm also going ahead to cut out my fabric and the lining piece for the sleeve, and I'm going to go ahead to repeat the same process for the sleeve also. For the sleeve, I'm going to go ahead to open up the sleeve like you see me doing in the video, after which you place your lining piece on it. So the sleeve of the style we are trying to illustrate has a flare attached to the hem of the sleeve, and to achieve that flare, I've gone ahead to cut out my lace fabric, and when cutting, I went ahead to cut a half circle. So I'll place the lace on my fabric like this, then I'll place the lining piece on it like this, after which I'll stitch that part, then I'll close up the sides and also the upper part, but the armhole area will be left open. I'll be turning it over from the armhole area. So I'll go ahead to quickly do this, then I'll come back to show you what next. So after joining my lining to my main fabric, this is what I had once I was done doing that, and I've turned it over to the good face using the armhole area, and I gave it a good press also, and this is what it looks like once I was done stitching it together. So you're going to go ahead to notch the scallop area before you turn it over. So for this armhole area, you're going to stitch down to 1.5 inch, then you leave the remaining part open, and you're going to turn your fabric over to the good face using this small hole you have at this point, and you have to be really careful while doing that. So this is what the front block of the blouse we are making is going to look like. And here I have the back block. I also went ahead to repeat the same thing for the back block of the blouse, and this is what the back block of the blouse is going to look like once you're done stitching the piece together. The next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to move over to the yoke of the blouse we are making. So I've gone ahead to cut out the yoke, and when cutting, I cut out both the front and the back of the yoke together, and I marked a sewing allowance of 0.5 inch all the way around on the part you see me touching. So the next thing I'm going to go ahead to do now, before you go ahead to remove your pattern paper, the first thing to do is to notch your armhole depth line. So I'm going to go ahead to fold it like this, then I'll go ahead to notch the armhole depth line like you see me doing in the video. So after notching it, I'm going to go ahead to remove my pattern paper like this. So for the back yoke, I'm going to go ahead to finish up this part of the yoke. So you can use your bias to do that, or you can simply go ahead to fold it over like this, then you stitch it all the way down. So I'm going to be doing that later. And here I have the front of the yoke. For the neckline, you're not going to be finishing up the neckline now because we'll be attaching a bishop collar to the neckline of the blouse. So the next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to attach the yoke to my blouse. And before I go ahead to start attaching it to the blouse, the first thing I'm going to go ahead to do is to notch the center of the yoke like you see me doing in the video. After doing that, I'll also go ahead to locate the center of the blouse like this also. So after locating the center of the blouse, I'll go ahead to place the blouse on my yoke like this, making sure that the center of the yoke is meeting with the center of the blouse, and also the armhole depth line is meeting with the armhole area of the blouse. So when placing your blouse on the yoke, you're going to go ahead to place it to be 2 inch on the yoke. So you're going to go ahead to measure 2 inch like this and mark. After marking that, you're going to go ahead to place the blouse on it, making sure that the blouse is at the point you mark. So after which you go ahead to arrange it, then you keep it in place with your pin. You can also go ahead to confirm your measurement like this, making sure that what you have from the shoulder area to where the blouse is what you came down by while you were drafting your blouse. So you need to do this so that you don't have issues after stitching the yoke to the blouse. So once you're done doing all this, you're going to go ahead to pin it down, after which you top stitch your blouse on the yoke, making sure that the stitch is very close to the top of the blouse. And also when stitching, make sure to use a matching thread to stitch the blouse to the yoke. So this is how I'm going to be attaching the yoke to the blouse and making. And also for the back, I'm going to be repeating the same process for the back. So for the back, the first thing you're going to go ahead to do for the back is to measure your zipper allowance, because the yoke is not going to be starting from the beginning. So you go ahead to mark your zipper allowance. After marking the zipper allowance, you're also going to go ahead to finish up the center of the yoke. Then you place your blouse on the yoke like this, making sure that the blouse is 2 inch on the yoke, and also go ahead to confirm your measurement like this, after which you're going to go ahead to stop stitch your blouse on the yoke. So to make it very easy for you, make sure you pin it down before you go ahead to start stitching. So I'm going to go over to my sewing machine to quickly do all this, then I'll come back to show you what it looks like. After I was done stitching my blouse on the yoke, this is what it looks like once I was done stitching the blouse, and this is what the inner part is going to look like. So I'll be trimming off that excess later on. So here I have the front block of the blouse, and for the back I went ahead to repeat the same thing for the back. I finished up the center back before I went ahead to attach the yoke to my main fabric, and this is what the back block of the blouse is going to look like once you're done stitching it together. So this is what you should have. The next thing I'm going to go ahead to quickly do now is to join my front and back block together. So you're going to go ahead to place the back on the front like this. Then you go ahead to stitch the shoulder area of the blouse. So you're going to be stitching just the shoulder area of the blouse using the 0.5-inch allowance you added while drafting. So I'm going to go over to my sewing machine to quickly do this, and I'll be repeating the same thing for the other side also, after which I'll come back to show you the next step. After joining the shoulder area of the blouse together, this is what I have once I was done doing that. The next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to open it up like this. Then I'll go ahead to place my sleeve on it. So this is what the sleeve is going to look like once you're done stitching your lining piece to the sleeve. This is what you should have. So you're going to go ahead to place your sleeve on it like this, making sure that it's on the yoke by at least 2 inch. But before you go ahead to start placing the sleeve on it, the first thing to do is to join the armhole area together. So you're going to go ahead to place the armhole area of the sleeve to the armhole area of the blouse like you see me doing in the video. So I'm going to go ahead to keep this in place with my office pin like you see me doing in the video, and I'm also going to be repeating the same thing on the other armhole area. So you're going to go ahead to place the armhole area of the sleeve on the armhole area of the blouse like this. So once you're done doing that, you're going to go ahead to turn your sleeve over like this. Then the next thing to do is to make sure that your sleeve is on the yoke by at least 2 inch. After doing that, you're going to go ahead to keep it in place with your office pin, after which you go over to your sewing machine and stitch the sleeve on the yoke like you did for your blouse. So I'm going to go ahead to quickly do all this, after which I'll come back to show you what to do next. After fixing the sleeve to the blouse, this is what it is going to look like. So this is what you should have once you're done stitching your sleeve on the yoke area of the blouse. This is what it is going to look like. So the next thing you're going to go ahead to do is to arrange your blouse like this. Then you go over to your sewing machine to stitch the front and the back together. So you stitch from the sleeve down to the hem of the blouse. So I'm going to go over to my sewing machine to quickly do this. After doing that, I'll come back to show you what to do next. So after joining the front and the back block of the blouse, this is what you're going to be having. So make sure you measure what you have on the scallop area to make sure that it tallies with your round shoulder measurements before you continue stitching. So this is what the back of the blouse is going to look like, and this is what the inner part of the blouse should look like. So I'll be trimming off the excess lace I have at this point. So this is what you should have once you're done joining the front and the back block together. The next thing I'm going to go ahead to do now is to cut out the bishop collar for the blouse we are making. And before I go ahead to start drafting the bishop collar, the first thing I'll go ahead to do is to measure what I have on the neck area of the blouse I'm making. So I'm going to go ahead to measure the neckline of the blouse I'm making like you see me doing in the video. So after taking my neckline measurement, what I got was 17 inch. So I'm going to be using this 17 inch to cut out the bishop collar. So make sure what you have is no more than 18 inch to avoid having a bigger neck after drafting it. For the bishop collar, I'm going to be drafting it on my gum stay here, after which I'll go ahead to just attach it to my main fabric, so it is much easier doing it this way. So the first thing you're going to go ahead to do is to fold your paper or your gum stay into two like this. Then on this folded part, you're going to go ahead to insert the measurement you took on your neckline divided by 4. So what I got was 17 inch divided by 4 is 4.25. So I'm going to be inserting the 4.25 on this folded part. So you're going to go ahead to place your triple like this and take the 4.25 inch all the way around like you see me doing in the video. After doing this, the next thing to do is to insert the height of the collar. So this depends on how big you want the collar to be. So for me, I want the height of the collar to be 1 inch, and I'm going to be adding 1 inch sewing allowance. So I'm going to go ahead to measure 2 inch all the way around from this point here. So I'll mark 2 inch all the way around like you see me doing in the video, after which I'll cut it out. After cutting out the bishop collar, this is what you're going to be having once you're done cutting it out. The next thing I'm going to go ahead to do now is to cut my fabric using this pattern I have here. And I'm going to be cutting on this doll face you see first. So when cutting, I'll be cutting out two pieces of the collar. One is going to be the main facing and the other one is going to be the lining piece. And also I'll be adding 0.5 inch allowance on this part you see me touching. So once I'm done cutting out the two piece, I'm going to be laminating my lace on one piece. That is the part that is going to have the gum stay is going to be the main facing, and I'll be attaching my lace to that part also. And also another important thing to take note of when cutting out your collar is that you need to cut the collar in a bias form. Don't just cut your collar straight like that. So when cutting your collar, you fold your fabric in a bias form like you see me doing in the video. So I'm going to go ahead to fold my fabric in a triangular way like this. Then I'll place my pattern on it, after which I'll go ahead to cut it out. After cutting, I'll place the gum stay on one piece of the fabric and also my lace fabric on the part that is going to have the gum stay. After cutting out the fabric, this is what the bishop collar is going to look like. So here I have the lining piece and the main facing, and I also went ahead to laminate my lace on this part that has the gum stay. The next thing I'm going to go ahead to do now is to join the lining piece and the main facing together. So you place the lining on the main facing like you see me doing in the video. After which you're going to go over to your sewing machine to finish up this part. So you're going to stitch from this side down to the other side. I'll go ahead to quickly do this, after which I'll come back to show you what to do next. So after joining the lining to the main facing, this is what I had. I went ahead to notch it and turned it over to the good face, after which I gave it a good press. And this is what the bishop collar is going to look like once you're done doing that. The next thing I'm going to go ahead to do now is to attach it to my blouse. So here I have my blouse. The first thing I'll go ahead to do is to locate the midpoint of the bishop collar. So you go ahead to fold it into two like this, after which you go ahead to notch the center of the bishop collar. And I'm going to be repeating the same thing on my main blouse also. After notching, the next thing I'll go ahead to do now is to start attaching the collar to my main fabric. So I'll start with the lining part. So you're going to go ahead to place the lining piece on the wrong face of your blouse, making sure that the notch parts are meeting. So the lining piece should be facing the wrong face of your blouse like this. After which I'll go over to my sewing machine to stitch the collar on my blouse. So before stitching, make sure you pin it all the way around. Then you go ahead to stitch it to make it easier. So I'll quickly do this, then I'll come back to show you what to do next. After stitching the collar to the blouse, this is what it is going to look like once you're done doing that. So the next you're going to go ahead to do now is to close up this part of the collar. So you turn it over like this and stitch this part, and you're going to be repeating the same thing on the other side. So for one part of the collar, I'm going to be attaching this strip I've gone ahead to make, which is going to be serving as the buttonhole. So before you go ahead to close up this part, you're going to place the strip inside like this. Then you go ahead to cover it like this, after which you will stitch it all the way down, and I'll be putting the same thing on this other side also. Once I'm done doing all that, the next thing I'm going to go ahead to do is to turn the collar over like this. Then I'll be folding in 0.5 inch on this side. So you push your seam inward like this, then you fold in 0.5 inch on the collar like this and place it on the neckline, after which you're going to go ahead to stitch it all the way around. So to make it easier, what I like to do is to keep it in place with my hemming gum first. So I'm going to go over to my ironing table. I'll place my hemming gum in between, fold the 0.5 inch over like this, and I'll keep it in place with my hemming gum first, after which I will stitch it all the way around. Doing it this way is going to give you a neat finishing. So I'll quickly do this, then I'll come back to show you what to do next. So after finishing up the bishop collar for the blouse we are making, this is what it looks like once I was done doing that. This is what you should have, and this is what the back is going to look like once you're done finishing the bishop collar. So this is what the strip I attached to the neck area is going to look like. So you'll be fixing a button on one side of the neckline. So basically we are done with the blouse. The next thing I'm going to go ahead to quickly do now is to attach my zipper to the back of the blouse. Then I'll come back to show you the final look. So after fixing the zipper to the blouse, this is what the final look of the blouse looked like once I was done doing that. So guys can go ahead to try yours and let me know about the outcome in the comment section. So if you find this video helpful and you are yet to subscribe, please click on the subscribe button and also turn on your notification bell so you can get notified whenever we post a new tutorial on this channel. And you can also check our other tutorial on this channel also. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next one.